So this is episode 45 of Oluswole, the podcast on a budget. I'm excited to welcome our guest. She is a dancer, featured doctor, a symposium leader. Susan, was good.
Hi.
Thanks for coming on the podcast. First of all, just tell me a bit about yourself. Like, what should we know about you?
I'm from Boston, and I'm a sophomore at Penn, even though I have a lot of junior friends like Timmy, and a lot of people think I'm a junior and I give off junior vibes. And other than being pre-med and dancing a lot, I feel like I'm always busy around campus. You'll see me running around here and there. Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited to see what you've found out about me, so I'm waiting.
It's not all about that, because people say that when they come on the podcast sometimes, and for me, it's just, if someone takes time out of their day to come on the podcast and to, do that for me, and I really appreciate that. At least I can do is come in well-researched and know my guests before I start asking them questions. So I might just, and also people like talking about things they've done. So I think it works both ways. Getting into the dancing side, you talked about it in the intro, you just talked about it now. I had no idea. I know you since sophomore year, right? Or my sophomore year, senior, freshman year. And I didn't know that you did dance until this year. It was just like, it just kind of happened. Obviously you've been doing it for a while, but for me, I just kind of saw you do it out of nowhere.
Yeah, I feel like I've never joined a dance team. Like, this is my first time being on a dance team, and I've done musicals, I've done plays, and I've been in a cappella groups before, but I've never really danced to dance. I've just done it for fun by myself. And last year, I used to go to studio by myself to freestyle, just to relieve some stress, and that's just kind of how I like to spend my time. And this year I joined 2 groups, and I kind of wanted to join last year, but I was scared. So I was really scared of being auditioned and being judged by other people, because for me it's very free time, let's do this for fun kind of thing. I never am judged by other people by how good of a dancer I am, so I was kind of scared that I wouldn't get in the first time. So it took me a lot of courage to even audition.
Yeah, we respect your courage. You got the result. You're in.
Yeah, the people are really nice too, and I'm really glad I joined. I really wish I joined earlier, actually, because I really met good people, and they're really welcoming and made me feel this year especially, I feel I found a lot of my people at Penn, and a lot of them are in hype, so I'm really glad.
Yeah, it looks like a great community. You invited me and some friends to the show. I didn't know, that was the first dancing show I'd been to at Penn, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I never had a reason to go to one. And we were there, and it's just a great atmosphere, because in between the performances, you see these things on the slide with, you guys in your practices and doing little marketing stuff. And it seems like there's a lot of camaraderie and there's a good vibe in that group. And that's something that I kind of wish I was on a sports team or on a dance. I don't dance. On some sort of team like that.
You're on the football team, so you already have that community.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. I try to keep that on the low. That's why I don't talk about it on the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, as a running back, play my sport, Yeah. But tell me about when you started dancing. What's the origin story? Where did the passion start?
I think when I was young, my grandma always told me that I would stop in the middle of the road when I hear some music coming out of some store, and stop and just dance on the streets, and people would watch me, and this 1-year-old, 2-year-old dancing on the streets, and be interesting, and keep walking probably. But I don't remember that. But when I was young, I just I feel our house in general, everyone likes music and everyone likes to dance. And my sister and I, we often dance in the middle of meals. We would eat, we would be eating dinner in the middle of the meal, just someone start playing a song, or someone's just they're like almost done eating, but then they like get up and like start dancing. It's just like very normal in my family, and my mom just like watches that. Okay, like every other day, like whatever, like they're dancing, I'm gonna keep eating. But I feel like we always like used our living room as our dance like stage, and kind of kept it to ourselves. And my sister has joined like a few dance teams like when she was younger, like middle school and high school, but I never really joined a team because most of my school dance teams were very contempt and very modern dance, which is not necessarily my style, and didn't really have a lot of like hip hop based teams in my like schools. So I think this is like really good opportunity for me. Yeah.
So what kind of genre were you doing? I mean, were they mainly like, was it classical kind of dance beforehand, or you said you weren't doing a lot of hip hop like when you were dancing in school?
No. Like I've never danced in like school teams because they were not like hip hop. Like I feel like in terms of like modern dance, contempt, and like classical stuff, like you need to be trained, and like I feel like I'm not calm enough to like do ballet and stuff. Like when I was young, I think my mom also like wanted me to like try out ballet when I was like 2 or 3. And I just remember like the teacher like pushing me, like trying to like make me do splits, and pushing me to the wall, and my like legs were just hurting so much, and like my legs were about to rip. I was like, I can't do ballet for sure. Like, so I haven't been trained for anything, so I kind of felt like those specialties and those genres needed more training.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard to like approach those genres. But I feel like just knowing more styles of dancing now at Penn, just seeing like different dancers, learning from different workshops, and like doing different types of choreo is really helping me just grow as a dancer.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that. Let that go for you.
Yeah.
I mean, if it helps, I can understand the problems you face as someone who tried doing ballet, because I'm an intermediate ballet dancer myself. And it's pretty difficult. Like,
yeah.
There's a certain degree of flexibility and athleticism that you need to have in order to do all those poses, pirouette, stuff like that. Yeah, it's not easy. Like, you make it look easy, but it's not.
I know. So. And you probably like I think like people don't really know your dance moves and especially your ballet moves, but I'm looking forward to that. Like maybe one day you'll be on stage at Penn, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Who knows? Yeah.
That might be too much sauce for this page, so I gotta keep it in the vault. I can't give away all the secrets yet.
Okay.
But obviously I don't do ballet for the audience. Believed it, but there's something you brought up. I mean, it's something that I was thinking about, at least, because I don't dance at all. But I've been telling people this as of late, like I want to be a dancing person so bad. I want to be able to dance and just like be good at it for social scenes and stuff like that.
Okay.
Do you feel that being an avid dancer, like someone who practices regularly, like the same way you do, especially given that you do hip hop and like other kind of genres, do you feel like being in a dance group helps you to be more comfortable dancing at parties? And do other people feel the same way, like other dancers like yourself?
I think parties dancing is a little different, but I think in terms of like gaining confidence in like public settings, I think the one thing I really liked about Hype, even from auditions, is like they like really cheer for you. Like they scream for you, they like clap, they like bang on the floor. Like they like are really excited for you to like perform and you to like show what you have. And I think that really helped for a lot of people. And going into the group, I kind of had this like imposter syndrome where like I was like, oh, like I'm not good enough, like so many other people like have their own strengths, and like I'm just kind of like average. And I feel like they like get their they learn the choreo a lot faster than me. They also kind of incorporate their own style in the dance so much faster than me. But then I think over time, just when I say with practice, means I think just frequency wise, because we spend so much time dancing, and also trying to mimic what other good dancers are doing in practice. helps me grow and helps me like learn more. Also like gain confidence in myself. And there were a lot of pieces that I wanted to be in show, and I didn't like put myself in, like didn't like select that dance because I thought I don't have the skills yet to do that certain piece. But after like seeing how everyone does it individually in like show, I think now I have more confidence that like I can pull, like with practice I can make it work, and like I can make something like my style and like have confidence and do it.
Yeah, and you even choreographed some of the dances in the hype show, is that correct?
Yeah, was for the newbie piece. Yeah.
That's for the people who just joined the group, right?
Yeah, so there were like two set of newbies. There were like spring newbies that joined last spring, so like a year ago, and then fall newbies that joined like fall of this academic year. So we had like four different sets, or like 4 different songs or something, and we had that one set called fall newbie set. So I choreographed one with Grace, and Grace left because she's a med student and she was just here for a year. But
yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine. It's one thing to dance. I can't even imagine having to dance and also create a dance at the same time, because I'm sure you have to practice the moves that you make, right?
Yeah, I feel like choreographing is a lot harder. Like for me, I like freestyling and like I can learn, but it's very different feelings of dancing, because I feel like in terms of freestyle, you just do it and without really thinking about how it's gonna look, or you don't really have to think about getting it perfect, because I usually don't freestyle with other people. I just do it by myself in the studio. But then learning the choreo is just, they teach it to you and you learn it, and you look at yourself in the mirror and like try to look somewhat okay. Like I don't want to look awkward when I do someone else's choreo, but then creating the choreo, I feel like I'm still learning. Like I think choreographing needs practice, and like we're doing some workshops next year, so I'm looking forward to like learning from like good choreographers like this year in hype, and a lot of them are seniors, and just knowing that they have improved so much since the first time they choreographed to like this show, I know that like just being in this group will probably like help me like get better too. But I think it's a skill that you just need to like hone and you need to like work on. Yeah.
And is every dancer expected to be a choreographer? Is there an expectation that like if you stand out long enough, you should have the necessary skills to do that?
No, there isn't like a requirement, but part of the audition is to choreograph like a 30-second choreograph like 30 seconds of any song that you choose. So like they not only do they see how well you kind of express or like learn the choreo that they give you, but they also like see how you choreograph yourself and like what your style is, because I feel like you really see someone's dance style in their choreographs. I feel like I'm more hard-hitting. Like I've realized one of the songs, I don't know if you remember, that one of the songs in the show called Yikes, if you go to YouTube to Pen Hype, you can see that video.
Tap in. Tap in.
And Yikes was Rebecca's choreo, and she's also a sophomore, but her choreo really fit my style, and I really liked kind of the style in that song, and very like hip hop and very hard hitting. Some people are very like R&B and they're really good with that. And for me, I honestly think that also requires a lot of practice, and in terms of like texture wise, I think I need to like work on my skills a lot more for those types of songs. So I feel like I kind of generally lean towards like hip hop or like hard hitting kind of hip hop dance style. Yeah.
I see that. I think for me personally, probably more like soft hitting.
Yeah.
Like more in that R&B stuff you kind of mentioned.
Okay.
More like slow, groovy kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of one step, lots of two steps.
Okay.
Really.
Do you have any like moves you have in mind for that?
Yeah, like
hitting moves that you use in parties. Okay.
Parties, that's different.
Okay.
That's why I bring out the full arsenal.
Okay.
We're talking about performances, pin drops and stuff like that. Cupid shuffles, things of that nature. The worm, nothing too crazy.
The worm is crazy. Like I can't. Like I wish I can, but there's some people who can do it like really well on the team. I'm still learning for next year.
I feel like it's a very niche move. Like I feel like it's something that you wouldn't put the worm in a. I wouldn't normally see the worm. Like I wouldn't see like a whole group of dancers doing the worm.
Yeah.
It would be like one person out of a group of people. Is that correct?
Yeah. You saw. I feel like in show there was like a time where like a group of people did it.
Oh,
but
really?
yeah.
I only saw it once. You saw it many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I think there are definitely some moves I like want to learn, but we'll see. I don't know. If I have more time over the summer, maybe I'll do that. Yeah.
We're both gonna be in the lab over the summer.
What lab are you gonna be in?
Oh, I'm trying to learn how to dance. I'm serious. Like, I cannot dance to save my life. And I'm tired of being. This is like the same kind of like thought process I had when I started going to the gym consistently. I was just like, I'm just tired of being like average or below average. I was just like, I need to actually lock in and just like try to like get better.
Okay.
So it's the exact same thought process for this. Like, I'm tired of just being awkward when the music starts playing. Like, I feel the music. Like, I'm just so self-conscious. I'm just like, I can't dance. So I'm not gonna try embarrassing myself in public. But I want to be good at dancing. I don't have to be one of the best. I want to be serviceable.
Okay.
Like, know a bit. I want to learn some hip hop. Like, maybe you could teach me.
Yeah, maybe it's just. I feel like there are like some like simple moves that people do all the time.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, I think, I don't know. Like I feel like most of the dance, me personally on campus when I went to parties and stuff, haven't seen a lot of good dancing happening anyways. So I feel like the bar is pretty low. But I feel like if you are confident and you put yourself out there, that's already like halfway there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. Like, the confidence is the number one thing. Especially like you said, at the average pep party, dancing is not there.
Yeah.
And like even I'm probably serviceable at the average pep
Yeah,
party,
exactly.
to be honest with you.
Wait, beyond surface level, who knows? Like, yeah. I have a lot of confidence in you. Don't worry.
I appreciate it.
You got this.
Yeah. But some other functions that are more niche that I find myself in, given the spaces I find myself in, I'm like, oh, these guys can actually dance a little. I'm not one of them.
Wait, there are some people who can dance, and I'm like, ooh, like, okay, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when I get like really competitive. I feel like I need to like step on my game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think it's happening with more like African dance moves and stuff like that because as an African person, you gotta know.
Have you been to a Wave show? I think Wave is
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they celebrated their, I think, either 10-year anniversary. They had a 10-year anniversary.
Oh.
I went to their show. Yeah, it was really good. It was fire. I knew a lot of people who were dancing, so that was really cool. Shout out West African vibe, plus E.
Yeah.
I don't know where the E comes from, but it's like West African vibe. But
Oh. Maybe it's the end of the E, like vibe.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know.
Because I guess if it was WAV, it would have been. It would have looked like a movie file, It dot WAV.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, they didn't want to be a file type, so I understand.
Oh my god, your jokes.
But yeah, transitioning away from that, we talked about you being a featured doctor. Obviously, you're not defined by your major, and there's more to Susan than you being a neuroscience major who's pre-med. But I just wanted to touch on that a bit. Like, tell me why you wanted to go into that field, like the medical field, and what you want to specialize in. Just tell me about the whole origin story, and why you're doing what you're doing now.
I'm not really sure when I like decided that this path was for me. I think it was kind of natural in that I really liked studying science, and before going into high school I did this like summer program at Brown, learning about like brain and behavior, and the first chapter was like neuroscience, like learning about neurons and stuff, and then the rest of the summer camp was about more psychology, more behavioral type stuff. It was like classical conditioning, like operant conditioning, like mice, food, like like hit, like not eat, salivate. I was like, okay, like mice is cool but not really for me, like and I really knew then I wanted to do like neuroscience, and I think it's something that I've always been like thinking about, but before coming to college, like I didn't really have a lot of opportunity to delve more into like neuroscience and like what kind of like different sectors, and coming to like Penn I feel like there's much more room and resources in terms of like what specifically in neuroscience like am I interested in, and I think that's something I'm still like exploring. I think on this, right now, like I'm really interested in like neurodegenerative diseases and stuff Alzheimer's and stuff like relating to like memory. Just feel like just because I feel like as students we use memory a lot, like every single day, and just that being impacted and how it's being impacted is like really fascinating to me. And also maybe something relating to like kids and their like brain development and how they like learn languages and stuff, also really interesting. I think that's why I did neuroscience, and I think in terms of my future goals, probably hopefully something related to like neuroscience, maybe like a neurologist. I was actually shadowing a physician yesterday, and I was able to see like the work-life balance and like the practice, like how he kind of interacts with the patients, and it was really insightful, and I feel like I learn so much every single time I shadow a physician, and also like really get motivated. I feel like a lot of the times like at Penn, when you go through classes, when you take your exams, you're like really demoralized. Like there were so many times in this semester I was like, oh, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I like told Timmy, I was like, Timmy is gonna help me with like consulting this summer. I was like, I can't. Huh?
You told who this?
I asked you. Remember? Yeah. Like I was like, you need to like help me with like the interviews stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what I'm getting myself into, but I feel like every time I actually go to the hospital and like see the doctor like doing his thing or doing her thing, doing their thing, like I really get motivated, and I feel like I know that like that's something I really want to do, and like putting what I learn in class into practice, and like knowing that what I'm studying and what I'm learning is for a greater cause, is for helping other people, other than like, I don't know, I guess I like learning and I want to make use of it. Yeah,
I respect the answer. Welcome to the dark side. Welcome to the dark side. You know, that's the corporate world.
We'll see. Like I don't know. I feel like maybe that's something I want to try out like one summer, or like even during like my gap years if I decide to take one or two. Who knows? But I'm still exploring. I'm still like seeing what's out there. Yeah.
How does a neurologist differ from a neurosurgeon? Is the only difference the surgery aspect, that one performs surgery and the other one is more advisory, like providing advice to patients and stuff? Is that my understanding of it? I'm not sure. Yeah,
I think so. I think I haven't seen a neurosurgeon yet, but I think neurosurgeon is the one who kind of does the surgery, and neurologist is more kind of how are you going to like go about this, and how are you going to treat this disease, or kind of like slow the progression or like stop it from like getting even worse. But a lot of the field is still unknown.
The medical field is definitely pretty expansive.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm an expert in it, but just from what I've there's literally so many options for you for specializing in, like cardiology, neurology, like you said. If you went to pediatrics, like you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
what else is there? Oncology, respiratory system related stuff. So
Okay, he knows his anatomy, he knows his science.
Yeah.
They're all of the systems.
Digestive system, cardiovascular, respiratory.
Okay.
Homeostasis, you're keeping blood the same. I mean, a little bit of GCSE biology, so nothing crazy. But you're from South Korea, and you spent a lot of time living in Boston
Mm-hmm.
before you came to Penn. Apparently, your favorite song was "Most Girls" by Haley Steinfeld. Has that changed?
Yeah. So that's a little. I feel like my favorite song always changes. Right now, there's this new K-pop song called "I Am" by IVE, and the lyrics is really good, and also like it's really, I don't know, the song's poppin'. Everyone should listen to it. I feel like my song changes. There's a little bit of story behind. I feel like I always struggle with like where I'm from, and I feel like I know exactly where you got that because I also Googled myself. I was like, cool, like what is Timmy gonna find out about me? So I Googled myself and I saw that, and I know where it's from. It's from my high school like website,
Really?
athletic website.
Oh.
But I feel like in my high school, I used to say like I'm from Boston, and then people would say, but like where are you really from? And I would say like Korea. So I was like, okay. So I was kind of tired of like people asking me that, and I honestly didn't think it was anything like. I didn't think that was wrong at first when people like asked me that. When people were like, no, but like where are you really from? I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, but like I think this is like what they're asking. And because I did spend like a lot of like my childhood in Korea, but then I think junior year of high school, some speaker came and said that one of the microaggressions is like people asking like where are you really from and not taking that first answer as the first answer.
Yeah, that's true.
And one thing I really liked about Penn is when I come to Penn and when I tell like people I'm from Boston, they're like, oh, and they move on. Like they don't like say like, oh, like where are you really from?
Yeah.
And I feel like for me it's a very like small thing, but it's also like one of the first things that I kind of use to introduce myself, and also a big part of my identity. And I feel like that's a really important thing I always like mention before like I move on, because I feel like it's very much who I am, and I used to like kind of give in to that and like say that like I'm from Korea, even though there are a lot of different like layers to it, and I think it's more about like how I define myself. But yeah, but as I said, I feel like I'm Korean and I like have a lot of relatives there still living there, but I feel like if someone asks me now, I would say I'm from Boston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That whole situation about where are you really from?
Yeah.
That's something I've experienced a little bit, probably not as much as you have, based on how you describe your story. Just being in an international environment, being someone who looks pretty like West African, and I say I'm from America, but the thing is, I have an American accent, so that also like helps. So that's why I didn't really experience a lot of that because I was from the U.S.
Yeah.
But occasionally, like they'll be like, "Oh, where are you really from?"
Yeah.
And it's not always a bad question. It's not always a microaggression, I should say, because it's coming from people who are from that area. Yeah. We just had some technical difficulties because the camera died, but we basically charged it again and had to swap the two cameras. So yeah, so Oluswole technical difficulties, but we made it.
Yeah,
so,
it's working. It's okay.
Yeah, keeping pushing. But like what I was saying, it can be a microaggression sometimes when it's coming from people who just think you can't be from where you say you're from.
Yeah.
And because you might look different from their perception of what people from that area should look like. You know, they use that to discredit you, and that's obviously something that is not nice because no one likes being told where they're from because everyone has a better idea of where they're from relative to, you know, someone who doesn't know them. And people say, oh, I'm from a small town about 50 miles after New York. Like, yeah, just tell me where that, when people tell me that, I'm like, where are you actually, what city is that, you know? Because even if you're from a small place or a place that's more obscure, I want to know where that place is so I learn more about the world, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of just knowing how close it is relative to the nearest big city.
Yeah.
At Penn, have you also experienced that, or has it been a different story?
Yeah, I feel like at Penn it's been very different. Like, I'm kind of glad that I've never experienced anyone asking me, like, where are you really from? So I was kind of surprised. Like, I think I'm from a very predominantly, like, white institutions in the past. Like, I've went to private schools that had a lot of, like, white students who were not used to, like, having a lot of, like, Asian students or just, like, students of other races, like, at their school. So I feel like coming to Penn, and for me, there is a lot more diversity here, which is not a popular opinion. I know that a lot of people think there's a lot less diversity at Penn, but I don't know, I feel like that's something that I felt like was really welcoming for me, that I don't have to, like, correct myself for other people.
Yeah, for sure. And that point about Penn's diversity is definitely interesting. Like, I agree, Penn is somewhat diverse, somewhat, but it's not as predominantly, you know, mono or dual racial as people make it out to be.
Yeah.
Like, there are good pockets of diversity. You just need to know where to find them.
Yeah, I think it may be a little, I don't know. I think some people are kind of cliquey. Like, some people only hang out with, like, a certain type of people. Some people, like, there are some spaces on campus I can tell that, like, only, like, it's, like, mostly, like, Asian people here, like, you know. But then overall, I feel like maybe it's just, like, me, like, making friends and stuff. Like, I haven't really had much issue, like, having, like, a diverse, like, friend group. I feel like the split is pretty, like, even all around. And I feel like if you are not meeting, like, a diverse community, like, put yourself out there and, like, try to, like, find other people who will give you, I guess, like, more of a perspective of, like, to the of the world regarding, like, what their, like, viewpoint is. And I think the one thing that I've learned is I've learned a lot from my friends, like, my freshman year, and I think there are definitely parts of the world that I did not know and that I was not aware of, and I was educated and I learned a lot, and I'm really happy and thankful for, like, all my friends, like, who taught me a lot of things. And I feel like I definitely, like, know some people who only hang out with, like, a certain group of people. I'm like, okay, like, but I don't, like, push them. I'm like, okay, like, that's you do you. But then, like, when they say, I don't know, when they say, like, oh, like, the school is, like, they haven't, no, the people who only hang out with, like, the same type of people don't really say those schools. I don't know. I think it depends on the person. There are definitely some people who only hang out with, like, their sorority, and it's, like, harder to meet other people if you want to do that.
Yeah. You see it a lot, like you said, people just pigeonholing themselves into certain social scenes, like elite, you know, like, so, you know, elite frat or elite social or sorority kind of vibe, you know, or other demographics. I personally, I would say I have quite a few black friends at Penn, but I'd also say I have a lot of friends who are not black and who are from different races, different ethnic backgrounds, stuff like that. So I think I'm lucky that I have a good mix.
Yeah.
I think you should have a good balance of people from your own culture and people from other cultures that are completely different. So
Yeah.
I'm happy that I have that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think for me it's also different because I grew up in an international school, so we had like 70 different nationalities in our school. So people were from all across the globe. So it was just kind of normal, not looking like the people you were hanging out with, or people being different colors. You know, it's just you didn't even think about it. It was just kind of the norm. So.
Yeah, I feel like it's also like exposure. Like you need to like meet a lot of different people to like learn that you need to sit comfortable with like the uncomfortable feelings you have if you do. Like I feel like a lot of the times if you're like used to only hanging out with people from one area or like my like high school was very local, like a lot of people were from like similar towns like right around my high school, and like they were just kind of they were only comfortable with like people who they like knew of like through like friends or through clubs and stuff. Well, like it was kind of like harder for them to like make connections with like people who they didn't necessarily have like a connection mutual friend with. And I feel I like learned a lot from how to navigate from that like environment in terms of like how to navigate in those situations, and also kind of like how to like keep your confidence and like keep your self-worth up there while you feel like, oh, maybe I'm not included because I don't have like any mutual friends with their friends or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I definitely agree. There's a lot you can take away from situations like that for sure. Moving away from that, we have the Oluswole Bowl as part of the podcast where we ask you some off-the-cuff questions. First of all, what's the craziest dream that you've had?
Craziest dream?
Yeah, if you feel comfortable sharing. Or the most memorable, I should say.
Like dream as in like my goal, or like sleeping dream?
Like sleeping.
Oh. Oh, I had this really scary dream where like me and my friends, I don't remember like who these friends were. It was a nightmare as a kid, but then like my friends were like 2 or 3 of my friends were like, okay, like we were in this like really spooky house, and they're like, okay, like we're gonna go upstairs and like check out like what's there. And then like my friend, 2, 3 of my friends, like it was like pitch dark, they like went up the stairs, and this woman came down with a platter of like loaves of bread, and my friends turned into like 3 loaves of bread. And
wow.
She like came down, and we're like so scared that we would also be turned into loaves of bread. And this was like, I think in elementary school or something. Like, I don't know, like it's ridiculous, but like me as a kid asleep, I was scared. Like I woke up crying. I think I went to my mom. I was like, I'm so scared. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be pretty scared too if that happened in elementary school.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of bread it was? Like, was it sourdough or was it, loaves?
Yeah, no, it's just like you know those like the bread you like toast, you put in the toaster, the big chunks before you like cut it into pieces, like it was like that. Yeah.
You guys.
Pretty ridiculous dream. I don't know, like I'm pretty imaginative like that. Like I don't know where I came up with that.
Yeah. Did they bring butter and like jam too, or peanut butter?
No, it was just like a silver platter with like loaves of bread.
I don't know. You should have brought some, some assortment so you guys could mix them up. No, that's definitely an intense dream. My dreams are not very vivid.
My dreams are like so vivid sometimes, but then like I feel like as you get older, my dreams get a little boring. And I just crash, and the next thing like I hear is my alarm like waking me up.
Yeah.
But when I was young, I feel like I used to have like wild dreams like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I definitely agree that my dreams were more outlandish when I was younger. Nothing crazy, but more out there. And nowadays, I rarely dream. I know the human brain dreams a certain number of times per night, but I wake up and I don't feel like I've dreamt. I just wake up and I crashed last night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I feel like it's just, maybe I'm sleep deprived. It's just so tiring. Like, during the school year, it's like so tiring because I sleep like 6 hours, which is like okay, but 6 to 8 hours, which is like normal. But I feel like for some reason, like I need coffee to keep going. I like keep like just like collapsing every single night. I'm like crash. Like it's not like okay, like let me have like a good night's sleep. It's kind of like okay, like I've been waiting for like the bed the entire day.
Yeah.
Hopefully this summer we'll get more sleep.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that summer sleep on the weekends though, be hidden.
Yeah.
So you don't have to wake up and be like, I gotta do homework, I gotta study for my midterm. It's just your weekends are just your weekends. So.
I feel like that's something that's different about like being a student and like working. I'm a firm believer that like studying is so much easier than working. I think like making money is like so much harder. Like once you like put yourself out in the real world, like it's so much harder than like sitting and like studying. And we like have like a lot of protection under the label of being a student.
Yeah.
And people don't really appreciate that enough, and that also goes to me as well. But just as a working adult, like that having that weekend off, it is something. But like not all working adults get their weekends off, you know? Like sure. Sometimes they like work ridiculous hours.
Many people work 6 days in a week, or they're working 6 days in a week, and then the 7th day is like preparing for Monday. So you're still kind of working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, there's definitely that element. I got a taste of what it was like to be a working professional over last summer because I was interning, and I was definitely more so in the weekend, protected weekends, and then work Monday through Friday kind of vibe.
Nice.
And it was nice.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of hard for my body to adjust to waking up at 6 in the morning because that's not where I do it in college. And on the weekends, you get home on Friday, you go to the gym, you shower, you just crash.
You go to the party and dance?
Honestly, there weren't a lot of parties going on in Philly over the summer. But there were people who were here though. Like I had a few friends in Philly over the summer. But.
Yeah, I don't know. Last summer I was so scared of getting like COVID. I went to this one concert with my friend and I got COVID. And after that I was just like in my room all the time.
When'd you get COVID?
Like start of July.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like 4th of July weekend I was in my room, like quarantined. Yeah.
Nah, you were in your room locked in, just getting work done and being productive.
No, I was watching YouTube all day, every day. Yeah, I was like, I can't come in to work. Yeah, and I was watching YouTube. I didn't have anything to do. I was like so bored by the end, but yeah.
And lastly, I know we talked about Most Girls by Hailee Steinfeld, but if you could only listen to one song for the rest of your life, which one would it be and why?
Wait, let me look at my Spotify playlist.
It's a big answer. Gotta do some digging. Go to your on repeat playlist, see what's going on. Spotify Rap 2022.
Oh, Stardust by John Legend.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to a concert my freshman fall and heard him live sing this unreleased song at that time. And it came out September of 2022, like this academic year, and that song really got me through freshman year. I was like listening to the video recording that I had of the performance, and I was listening to it like all spring semester of freshman year, so I feel like that's a really good song everyone should listen to. Yeah,
tap in with the boy John Legend, Stardust.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually, I mean, everyone knows he went to Penn, just for the audience, if they didn't know that. So I think that's probably our coolest alum, like Elon Musk and John Legend. They're probably up there as our coolest.
Yeah, I had a theater teacher from high school. I don't think she was like an outside like production team who like came in to help like our fall play, but she went to Penn and she was saying that one cool fact about me was I was in an a cappella group with John Legend, and I was like, wow. That's
major. Wow. Yeah. I'm sure he was incredible.
Exactly. Yeah. He was like, apparently he was like making music as a college student, and like I don't know, maybe there's some future John Legend out there on Pan's campus and I don't even know.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He was also a consultant, bro.
Really?
Yeah, he worked at BCG out of graduation, I think, for 2 years.
Okay.
And then he transferred and like I think he started doing his music stuff after.
Oh.
Doing his music stuff like professionally.
Wow.
After. Yeah.
Okay.
He was always making music like, as a kid and stuff.
Wow.
If I need to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure it's something along those lines.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks for coming on the podcast. This marks the end of today's episode.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Thanks for sliding. Oluswole on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're on TikTok. So just want to rock. Thank you guys for listening and peace.